You're listening to Polymatic.media. Episode 42 for July 1st, 2018. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Things, stuff, bugs,
Wasps.
insects, wasps. That's plaguing me. Anyhow, no rant on that. I did that enough. I keep taking them away, keep giving rid of them. They keep coming back. And they keep coming back in my door frame. Front door frame. The only entrance in and out of the house with a lock.
They're looking for you.
Yeah.
They have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm not the only one who keeps trying to combat them. And they keep just coming back. And it's always one comes back, finds its way in, tries to set up home again in the door frame. So it's not fun. It's very, very irritating. It's irritating now because, you try to solve a problem humanely, and then that doesn't work. And then you resort to sprays. And that seems to be only a temporary measure. Only for
at least you haven't been stung yet.
Yeah, well, knock on particle wood or board. I hope. I hope I don't ever have that problem. Like you were telling me about your story with a bee.
Yeah, that's not fun. No.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. I don't want to be stung, and I don't want them to propagate or produce in the house. That's the main thing. And people come in and out of the house. This isn't like a house where I'm the only one who's present, right? It's others, and that becomes sort of a manageable problem because most people are not looking at anything, not paying any attention. And all it takes is just one careless person to leave the door open because they're carrying a set of heavy things in for a good 30 seconds to cause something to arch its way into the house and start setting up hives all over the place. So,
your way of thinking about how wasps work, great.
No, I know it doesn't work that way. I just don't want it in because it has lots of freedom. The very nice thing about the door frame is between the storm door and the actual door it's contained. So you can open up the storm door from the outside, right? And then you can
get a face full of wasps.
What you can do is, at least in this case, it hasn't been, a dozen, hasn't been a big hive. There's not a lot of room there. It's enough for like one little tubule. You can put a spray or you can take a broom and knock it down or something, right? And so no good, not good. Don't like it. Don't want it, in my front door. Don't want it at my front door. Don't want it anywhere near me, to be honest. We're getting tired of it.
I think there's a bumblebee something or other going on near one of my neighbors. Yeah. I think that there's like a hole on the top of their door. Mm-hmm. So I think there's something there. I keep seeing things flying in and out, so there's probably something there.
Yeah, I
poke them about it.
This house, because I'm renting it, and this house is basically because of a sinkhole in the area. It started to settle in, so they fixed that problem when I basically promptly in about a year since I moved in, I was like, hey, this has got to be fixed. This is strange. And little things like, the door frames. The door frame is still squared up. It's just that the door and everything else on is sort of just settled, so something is just weird. So there's this sort of angular gap above the door and the storm door and the frame. So what did I do last night when we finally eradicated what was around? I just put duct tape over the top of it to fill the thing. So that's what I was checking this morning. And I did the same thing on the inside just to make sure everything was solid. It's not pretty looking, but it should solve my problem, I think, for a while, right? So
I think there's like hives in your walls, and they're gonna only
there must be. There must be in the porch or something. Something is going on because I went to go check on, make sure everything was good, and I saw a wasp walking up the side of inside of the glass.
And you nipped right out of there.
And so I was like, I just closed the door. And I said, okay, this is not good.
Nope.
They're back. They got in somehow. So I got to look at the door from the outside to see if there's other places I can duct tape to just sort it out for the moment and then spray it down again. Maybe I just, Anyhow, rant over on that. I've ranted enough on this. It's my problem. It's my problem, and I don't like it. And then I'm going to consult my landlord about it.
Yeah, great stuff.
Well, yeah, not good stuff. Not fun stuff. So anyhow.
I've been growing garlic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I got some cloves of garlic that I put into pots, and I was like, yay, it works, it grows.
Yeah.
It's not surprising, of course, because, it's a plant, so it'll grow. But it was kind of surprised of how fast they started to grow. So that was kind of fun. They're still growing. They seem to be alive, so even though it's very, very warm right now. It's like calculated about 90 degrees. 90 to 100 degrees here right now. So
it's
full sun.
I'm looking at something and it says 77 right now in Fahrenheit. Right. So it's supposed to get up. Okay, no, it refreshed. It's 82 here, and it's supposed to get up to 94. Right. Great for wasps, not great for humans.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about finishing things today.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a procrastinator when it comes to projects. I really start working on new projects really fast, and then get everything ready, and then I stop working on them because I'm kind of lazy sometimes, and I got other projects to work on, like work projects that need more attention and take more of my energy during the day, and I don't finish the project, and it takes a long while, and I keep forgetting about it, and then I play a game instead of having to work on the project. And so I've been trying to focus on getting one thing done at a time instead. That seems to have worked a bit, but I'm still kind of a lazy bastard. Then again, I also have like 5,000 projects that I'm working on, so
right.
And I started a new one this week, so yay.
Right. Okay, so this is a very easy topic, and I'll do my best to stay focused on it. This is a battle I've had for a long time.
Are you going to finish it?
Maybe. So this is a battle I've had for a long time, which is also kind of why I stopped Minecrafting, because it was something where I felt... So my stepmother instilled this idea in me somewhere in my 20s, which was, I think... when you work really hard, sometimes you have to reward yourself at times. And that's kind of important. But when you've earned it, right? Some people think, oh, well, I talked to that person, I should reward myself, right? It's like they did a small little thing and they feel like they should reward themselves all the time. I'm special. I'm amazing. But the reality is if you solved a big problem and did a very large thing that required a lot of effort and was hard, not just for you, but just in general, and it's a much greater thing than yourself, then yes, I think you certainly at times should reward yourself. You can't just work yourself down to a pulp, right? You just can't do that. Sometimes you have to take some time for yourself, me time, and just like have a milkshake, that even though it's not on your diet, right? Just once in a while, not like every day, not every week, right? Just have some boundaries, but also kind of take care of, reward yourself. Well, so the same thing goes along with when I get home. I've worked a lot, and usually my job is reasonably intense, and it's a lot of hard work all day. It's literally in the morning, out at the end of the day, 10 to 11 hours of hard work. Just is, right? Yeah. That's the way it works. So every day I feel like, and I had this for years, where I felt like I'm going to watch TV, I'm going to watch YouTube, and I'm going to procrastinate before I start editing a podcast, right? And so I used to do that a lot more often. And then most of the time was I felt like I needed to reward myself to fulfill myself because I was so behind on TV, and I had to watch this TV that was sitting there on the streaming box for me to like go stream it because I'm X number of episodes behind, and I really like that show. I must reward myself. And so I would basically start watching stuff that was not investing well in my time as a viewer. It was wasting my time. And as much as I like these things, I realized that is not a good reward for myself. I think for me, Rewarding myself is trying to finish the thing that is on my weekly schedule. And then I feel like I have freedom to the rest of my night, right? And then maybe I could watch that TV. Maybe I could go program. Maybe I could go figure out this extra thing for somebody that asked me to help on a thing, try to finish something. So for the longest time, I used to have this in my head. I had this mental list, and I would write them down of all these new ideas of things I wanted to work on. And then I knew what the plan was with the things I needed to do to get them started. And this was in conflict with me wanting to watch TV or me wanting to reward myself for my hard week for Minecraft or something like that. And then I would just burn that window of opportunity away with something else. And so this is a thing I've been going back and forth with myself for several years, definitely since I've been living here. And I had that same problem where I had new ideas. I wrote them down. I was like, these are good ideas. I should go work on these things. And then either they never get started or they get half started or they get partially started and I hit obstacles. And then I'm like, I'm on my own time. This is not work. I don't need to put up with this. I don't need to get past these obstacles. Oh, Minecraft, right? And then I found some conduit for distraction. And that has been my trying to finish things struggle. So the unnamed app that I've mentioned several times is one of those where I started something. I got a little bit farther on weekends. Then I abandoned it because I had obstacles or I had no time or I chose to choose my conduit of distraction, right, in place of. And then 2 years later, I was like, this is really becoming a thing I want to get done. And then it's now 2018. And now I'm finally actually putting some effort on it. And I hit obstacles, but I'm like, Alan, this is something you need to get past the obstacles because then you'll never finish it. And so, there's lots of these little things, but I'm also on the same point is you finish one thing, you move on to the next, right?
I think the main part for me is because I have such an intense job for like programming like the entire day. I want to work on my own projects, but when I get home, I'm not, I'm like, I'd like to, do something else.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, I also feel very passionate about the thing that I want to make.
Yep.
Right. So then there's that.
Yep.
But then again, I don't have the time.
Yep.
Because I still have like close to 20 days of vacation till the end of the year that I still need to take care of somehow. Right. So
I definitely don't have that.
So I still got it. So and I did take up some time, but the week was so messed up that I couldn't focus. I couldn't do something else because people kept bugging me about stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that was my week. It basically was my whole month of June. Yeah.
No, but like during the vacation, so I had 2 weeks, and I had 2 separate weeks, so in the beginning of May and the end of May. And, I didn't have to take that many days, but because there were national holidays, I could take those days because it was nobody else was working anyway, so might as well just do that. And then people kept interfering, poking me about things, and it's like, so I didn't take that many days off actually.
And we've talked about this too, when it comes to relationship to work and you take time off, if they let you take time off because, and I think you have, certainly my boss has higher technical debt because he's institutionally been with the company, for many years, right? He's built a lot of fundamental things that they do. And I definitely have technical debt and I've only been there for 5 years. And I definitely have technical debt very specifically to the projects that I'm the lead on.
Well, I don't think that the technical debt, it's not technical debt if it's just, you have a lot of domain knowledge, right?
Well, but it's because we are so the only ones who can do a thing, and or there's no knowledge overlap, and or we're the only experts to answer very particular important questions.
I think it's mostly
And
experts. I think it's
right, but
the
then
expertise.
you go on vacation, and then all of those problems are just sitting there waiting for you. So your vacation, however brief it is, unless it's like a month, you don't really come back relaxed. You come back momentarily relaxed until you hit Monday. And then Monday is not wonderful. And then you're back into the pattern. That's where I was going with it.
And then
And
still you
without
can't finish
qualifying
things.
the conversation about technical debt, because I think my point is relevant without qualifying the details that you'd be convinced about it. But to humor me and assume it is. And, and that is the other component of all this, is that vacation is supposed to be a vacation, to walk away from the scenario and refresh yourself, decompress and have a new lease on stuff. And and so, but we often don't get that because of the job intensity, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was where I was navigating in terms of my point.
So your strategy is rewarding yourself.
Yeah, but it often doesn't happen that much. I do it a lot less. I find the reward is actually trying to accomplish to finish things. Now, with that said, I do finish things throughout my week, and doing my main podcast, right, forces a weekly scenario. There were plenty of times I was struggling to, between the reward center for me or the intensity at work, or the combination of both, or needing to decompress, or a roommate who's just sort of vomiting their inconsideration all over the house, which is a combination of just being a problem, right? Being annoying, TV's loud, like things where you can't get yourself into a quiet place.
Yeah.
Right? Where you can decompress, where you can think, where you can just, oh God, that smell is terrible, right? And now you're solving a different problem. And that's what I mean, right? You can't be in a place for yourself to decompress and have control of your environment, and clean, whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you the solace that you need. And I've had just decades of this this conflict, in my life. But the podcast has a schedule, and while there are tenuous moments to keep that thing on track, and believe me, there were a couple of years of the 13 on that main podcast definitely were not great, and where every day was tenuous, and I try to keep some positivity about it. The result of it is I'm so far past a lot of these things. I'm pretty zen about it. I deal with these things with ease. I don't stress over them. And I am achieving and finishing things inside the week, several at a time, no problem. And if something fails, I don't get all up in arms. But my side projects, the ones that I care about, right, which aren't going to change the world and aren't going to make me a bazillionaire, those are the ones, finishing those things are the struggle. Does that make sense? Did that rant work for you?
Well, I think that that might be wrong, completely wrong about this, but there's people that work on. I think the problem for me is because my work is so creative, I have to do a lot of creative things to get things really, working the way they need to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much creativity coming into that also drains me for like other projects.
Yeah.
But and I think that for some people who work like 9-to-5 jobs that just have to do like put the thing in the box and do the thing. Outside of that, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Right. They have more bandwidth.
For me,
mental energy.
outside of work, I'm also on call. I'm
Yeah.
also doing other stuff. So getting to a point where I can say, hey, I have nothing else to do but play a game. I have nothing else to do but work on my own project. Like by the end of the year, I kind of want to make another art book. I want to have enough stuff for the art book to be there.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't have the time. Well, I do have the time. It's not more like I don't have the energy to work on the book. Right. I don't have the
creative energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have the mental energy, and I relate to exactly what you're talking about. I think solving a problem that is larger than just like, logic code, like if this then that, then you do this, do the hokey pokey and turn, A and B around. Like, I get that.
That stuff's not. I think it's also because I care too much about certain other things that need to be done, that I care too much. I should rather let other people handle it sometimes, but I can't, because if I don't, then things will set on fire and things will be much worse. But
yeah, I relate to that too.
They won't be. But then again, this is not a podcast about how we're going to solve this. This is more about how John is in trouble and needs to get his act together.
Yeah, to finish things.
Finish things, yes.
Yeah, I think there's so many ideas. Like, for example, I'm interested in 3D printing. I think that could be a total thing that I own, but then it will be the dominant participant in my reward center, right? And then there is a steep learning curve to ramp up, to figure out a lot of things, at least for me, from my point of view, for me to have that understanding, for me to purchase things. And then what's the usability case for me? Well, as a person who doesn't have that accessibly available, I'm not thinking in that world. So if I needed a part to something, I would have gone down a route and figured it out, and 8 hours later I have my part. But I don't live in that world, and I also don't want it to be a functional distraction for me not finishing things.
You could print a 3D printed wasp trap.
Yeah. I don't know how well that would work, because they just keep coming back.
Somebody keeps bringing it up as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just, and so if I, of course, if I was really wealthy, I live in a place where wasps couldn't get there. At least I hope. But also in the same respect, I would mitigate a lot of the functional obstacles, and I would make it, again, if you could do all these things, right? There's always if you could. That these are things that I would do, and then maybe I would have, right, maybe I would nice at it and have a workshop. And I thought about, for a moment, maybe building like a little hackateria around here, a little hacker factory in this area, because this area just doesn't have it. But also, there's not a strong sense of a need for it here either. Yeah. But then it could be the place, the depot for all of my, having 3D printers or a laser cutter or whatever. But also, there needs to be fiscal bandwidth for that. I don't have the financials to do that either, without it being, problematic. So this just doesn't become a priority. There are a lot of things I want to do in life, and I end up starting them. And once I start them, I'm committed to persisting through them. I mean, the podcast has been going for, at least the one main podcast has been going for 13 years. And the other one, well, it's not great, and it's very easy thing I do. It's like, okay, I have an idea somewhere in a week. I have a notion for an idea. I go record something in 3 minutes. I trim it up, make sure any kind of restarts that'll never edit it out. I just, snip them up, clean it up, run it through a little profile, boom, done, out the door in a half hour, right? So I've optimized my ability to do that thing, and I've been doing that for I don't know, I think it's like 7 years now, something like that. Crazy.
I think the projects where you do it with like a normal schedule, right? You don't have the excuse to, break that schedule. Even though you're not doing it for money, you don't have and I think that's what happened with the artist community that I've been working on, the new version of that. Because I was doing it every day, working on it for like an entire week, And then every day I posted hey, I did this today, working on the project and showing people what I've been doing. Not that I got a lot of response for it, but hey, fine. I think that's why it got a lot done. A lot got done, but doing, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I think it's also a part of the because I work in a place where there's not a lot of overlap with like the jobs. Like we don't have much redundancy when it comes to people. So there's lots of responsibilities there with one or two people that, if one person's on vacation, the other person really can't go on vacation, which is fine because it's a small team. We're very lean. We can work on the things very fast and get things done. But then again, it also means that as soon as I have gallbladder surgery,
it's a problem.
Yeah. But then again, I did work on Monday, so.
Yeah. So, but again, I have very similar. I can identify with that because that's a very similar thing across the other division in the company. They do have fault tolerance across the line, but they also do it in such a way where they don't have a lot of knowledge overlap, but they have a lot of resources. So if something really is a problem, they have, maybe a minimum of 3 or 4 people to sort it out. Where in my case, it is a small team. It's me. Yeah, there's 3 of us, including my boss, and most of the time he really should be in the position of managing what's coming, what's going on. But he has a tendency to also overlap in the space of coding and sort of, having the care for too much and having to be responsible for a lot of stuff that he has not had any bandwidth to overlap with someone like myself. So it's not fault tolerant at all. And it does consume full amount, like almost near 100% of all your energies during your day. You come home, you want to do something mindless. Minecraft, watch some TV. Oh, Supergirl. Oh, CW commercial 9 times in these 3 minutes. Fantastic. Like you just want to do something that's brainless.
Let's veg out.
Yeah. And then there's the inside of me that's like the lazy person's like, yeah, it's great. And the other person's like, no, and finish that project. But there's an obstacle there, and I don't really feel I have the energy for it. And they go, yeah, well, screw your energy. Go push past it, right? And that the former, that little whatever, that guy, that voice, that thing that motivates me, is also what propels me to keep on track for doing the podcast every week. Now, I wouldn't do those podcasts if there were no audiences. But there are audiences. Damn you, audiences. There's an audience. And because of that, I know people on the other end were part of their week. Right? And I'm not qualifying, and I know it's not Elon Musk. I don't know who those people are really. I know a few of them because they've revealed themselves to us. But there is an audience on the end of these things. I don't mean like they're millions. Okay, if there are millions, then I should be able to quit my day job somehow. But there are thousands, and tens of thousands.
Even if it's just you, Steve.
Yeah, and for us, for this show. And so, hi, Steve. So anyhow, and so for that, there's a reason to propel myself to continue to do it. If there are 3 people, I would just sunset the whole project, right? Which I think is its own topic. When to kill your intentions. Because after, basically the reality is if you never get to it in a year, okay, then stop working on it until the right moment happens. But if you're going to wait for the right perfect moment of all the moons to align and all the planets to align and the wasps to go away and leave you alone, like it's just never going to happen. If it does, it's out of randomness. It's not out of fate. It just doesn't work that way. So if you want to do something, you have to have persistence and you have to start and then you have to keep moving. But what we can't do is keep saying yes to things. You have to say no. You have to say no to others. You have to say no to yourself. But you can write it down in an idea bank, right? And say, these are ideas I want to work on when I have that freedom. And again,
never
you might
actually
be
do them.
right, but you might be very right. I think you and I are too similar in this area where, there is an average individual where their day is very 9 to 5. They go in, they come out. They have plenty of time to watch TV, watch the news, watch a movie marathon, the latest thing on Netflix. That is their livelihood. Their life is really simple. And they have fiscal bandwidth where we might spend our money on a new mixer or a new Arduino board or an array of them because we want to turn our house into magic mirrors all over the place, right? We might do that, and that might be where we put our money compared to an average person. But I don't think people are average anymore. I think they can find their little pocket. Someone might find doing yarn comforting, and knitting, and that's what they'll do. And despite, and I'm not talking just like, I'm not making any gender assumptions. Like anyone could find that a thing that they do and put their money there and their interest and their attention. If their job doesn't give them creativity, then maybe that's a creativity that they use in life to satisfy themselves off hours.
Well, I think that a lot's going to change in the coming years when it comes to automation. I think a lot of people are going to be stuck without a job. And then if there's no way to do that, either we're going to have like the purge or, there's going to be some sort of, freeing up of people to do other things. And I think that might be a good a good moment for us because there's more brain power going to things. And then on the other hand, it might be the moment where Netflix becomes like our lord and master, controlling everything we think about because that's the only thing that we ever get to do outside of work.
Yeah, I think that's going to be Amazon or Google, to be honest. Certainly it's not Siri. So, there is a video.
Echo or Alexa?
There is a video of trying to defeat you from firing off all the voice assistants. Hello, everyone. There is a video. I wish I had it readily available for you. There's a video where, so Detroit went through sort of this, it was an industrial town based on the car industry. And through the 80s, they basically got more into automation for productivity, for all kinds of reasons. So there was a bunch of very skilled workers, machinists, people who could work in this industrious town that basically has gone bankrupt and is sort of barely but very basically recovering itself over the last couple decades. And someone came in and they created a company that produces very boutique custom things and they employ these skilled workers. These people that were that one person that worked somewhere for 50 years and couldn't get a job anymore because that business doesn't exist anymore in the world for them. And also couldn't afford to leave where they nested their whole life. And those people have gotten hired by this company. I have to find that video. I'm not going to be able to do it within, our recording, but maybe it's a future fun thing to share. But the very thing you're talking about is a very thing someone decided to do, did a startup where they build, handmade things by these individuals that once had a job doing that one kind of thing that automation replaced them, or simply the company just left town altogether.
Somehow everybody has moved to India.
Yeah, right? Well,
or China.
You and I, maybe not you so much, you find out when you work for a company, it's not specifically India, it can be other nations, where they farm out stuff on the cheap, and you get a quantity of things. You rarely get quality of things, And I think that more has to do with barrier, conversational barrier, cultural barrier. And that's been my experience. It's not my point of view.
Well, we had some external people from Eastern Europe for a while.
Yeah.
In the company. I think I can talk about this, but it didn't go that well. We had some major issues with that, with code quality and stuff.
Yep.
And they did their thing, very specifically. They did their thing, and then it was over. It was done. They clocked out. It's like it's something I don't think I can do. I don't think I can just leave it. Right? I can't just let it be the way that it is. I have to make it perfect, if that makes sense in any way.
Right. Or
right? When I have to get that project done, I'm making the project as good as I can make it. Right. So I've recently finished a project. I think I really did a good job on that. Really good, and I spent a lot of time on it, and it's not gonna break. Pretty sure about that. But if we would have outsourced that to another company or another place, it would have been a mess.
Yeah, if you didn't tell them every little thing that, there's no creativity in that process is what I'm saying. I think that's the point I was going to rant to, but that's it. That there's no creativity that happens. If there are challenges, well, you didn't say in the specification how to.
Yeah, well, the creativity is on the other end, right?
Solve that challenge. So you asked me to make a cake that was pink. You didn't ask me to make a cake that was pink and edible, and that you could mass produce and sell. You just asked me to make a cake that was pink. So I got a cupcake. It's a cake,
filled
and
with paint.
I sprayed it pink. Here you go, and I charge you $50,000 for that. Right? Yep. And that is sometimes what you get from these scenarios where you said, no, it's got to be edible. Oh, it's also got to be gluten-free. Oh, also, it's all going to be sugar-free, too. Then
you're just being nitpicky, because then you're just, pawning things on to be, to get it to fail. But I'm more about hey, if I'm going to be responsible for this, then I want to make sure that it works. If you have something developed outside of your company, then that's going to be a problem, because the other people don't care as soon as it's been delivered and it's been accepted. That you accepted it, right? So you're responsible now.
Yeah. And so in those cases, and I've had a lot of those scenarios where a project was started, it was not going anywhere. I'm the lead. They say, Alan, we need you to come in and help fix this and move this along. Okay. And I look at it and go, guys, to the leadership, I go, I have to redo this. Well, that's a lot of work that was done. I said, yeah, a lot of work that's problematic, that it's got problems in it, that is not going to be future-proof, not going to work. It's going to cause us lots of issues. It's going to have lots of performance problems. It has lots of bugs in it as it is today. I'm going to be spending more time fixing these bugs, Frankensteining the work that was done, than actually just redesigning it and building it from fresh, where it has all the right foundational pieces in place. And they go, no, keep it as is, just work with it, right? You inherit it what you get. But then you get to a point where it's breaking, and you go, I predicted these things, I am now going to do my thing. Are you on board? And sometimes you get a yes, and sometimes you don't get a no. And these things are also not where your positive creative energy goes, but where your creative sinks get, the resistors of that.
The thing that I told you was going to happen, and I'm now going to have to fix, and you're going to come up with a great solution for it, and you're going to fix it, and it's going to live on for years, but you feel really salty about what you did. Yeah.
And more importantly, then that burns your creative motivation when you get home from work. Right?
Yeah, if you have to go and fix somebody else's poo-poo, that's not great.
Yeah, and that is a significant part of my job on and off. Certainly part of my attention points this week with what I was working with had a lot to do with that. But we're not living in that world of that rant for those things is no, I totally relate. and it. I think I have a limited amount of bandwidth for doing these things, and I think I have a lot more of it when I'm in control of what I'm doing. I restarted the Unnamed project because I needed to satisfy what I was being told or what I read, and I had this sort of nagging sense that this doesn't seem right. This seems unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I went down that route and I satisfied, and now I know with confidence what my reasons were because I was brand new to it. It was either I was learning something by following the instructions, or I was going to learn something by doing it my way. But because I didn't really have enough context, so I had challenges and I had obstacles that allowed me to think creatively, that allowed me to figure out a lot of stuff and have a better insight and understanding of the more difficult instructed way. And then I found my creativity in solving obstacles, which created more obstacles. Not my solutions, but because the way the thing was made. And then as a result, I learned, and then I restarted it, and now I'm in control of the whole playground because I built the playground. And because I built the playground, I'm in control of all the things that are in it. And if I need a widget, I build the widget. And I can do it with the basic tools. I don't need someone's fancy power drill to do it. I can do it, in a much simpler manner, in a much more controllable, measurable, sustainable manner. And that's the only reason I had progress recently. It's because I did it the hard way. I got myself pissed off. I avoided it for days on end, here or there, or weeks on end, even if work or life busy. And then I came back to it. And as soon as I came back to it because I had a little motivational energy there. And it allowed me to, and instead of setting large goals for myself, I set the goal of where I want to achieve, and then I set very minor but fundamentally stacked important goals with each other together. And so I'm able to, I call it like baby steps. You just solve one little problem really well, solve another little problem really well. The more often you get to do that, then you can translate that into work and back from work to home and, to other parts of your life. But you just solve one little problem at a time. And then when you're at the end of it, you have this thing, solved. And it's this big thing that you did. And it's amazing and it's done. And you feel happy about it. And you do have to satisfy your needs along the way. You have to feel like you achieved something, or at least I do. I have to feel like I have to achieve something. I feel confident and happy about it, even if it's not achieving the full goal. It allows me not to obsess. It allows me to make myself stop, not spend 12 hours on one thing, but to spend the time that I have available for my creative energy when I have it available to finish things. And that is sort of how I work towards a goal. But I have that little guy in me that goes, that's an obstacle. Well, you just don't have the time to figure that out. You need to go. You need to go do something that's mindless, right?
Play a game.
And sometimes that little voice in my head is positive, and it's exactly what I need. And other times it leads to bad things. Me not finishing a project.
Whenever I finish a big project, it's like more like same thing with art, right? So when I do an art piece, I finish the art piece and then I'm like, okay, I'm done with this thing now. Big hole of things, right? This is the thing I've been working towards for a long time, right? So I've been working on an art piece, or I've been working on a project. And then at the end of the thing, there's like this big hole of nothingness. It's not like I have nothing else to do. It's like more like it is now finished. I am done with it. It's been out there, and then you push it out there, and then you get enough response or no response or whatever.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's a thing where when you put something out into the world and you're looking for someone to reciprocate, right?
No. It's not what I mean. It's more like it's out there now,
Yeah.
and I want to work on something else, but I have no idea what I want to do, which one of
Mm-hmm.
my 5,900 and something projects that I want to pick up.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then those are all projects that I've either worked on and never finished, or that I really want to do, but then maybe redo or start from scratch. But then, and again, I know I'm not going to finish it because this is one of my projects. And I'm never going to finish it.
I
I'm just a big mess
I've
when
been
it comes to
past
that.
that a bunch of times, and I just said, well, you know what? Finish it. You pick one, you work with it,
Yeah,
right?
doing one at a time worked really well. Just
Yeah.
finish it,
You pick one.
even if
You got to
it's
look
like
at it
something
for a
silly.
sec though, and you got to see what kind of time or money or effort goes into this, and what's the likelihood that's achievable, and that might just add to the weight of things you got to do first before you can finish it or
I
start it.
think it's also because if there's something else that's blocking you from finishing something
Yeah.
on another project, like for example, I've been working on something for the company, and we're doing something for another company, sister
Right.
company, and it's been working really hard on that. And because I'm not done with that project, I feel guilty not working
Mm-hmm.
on another project for
Yeah.
myself, which is totally effed up. But okay, great, that's how I work. But now I finished that project, so this week and this is totally stupid because it's a very bad game. I have started finishing Mass Effect Andromeda. It's a big mess, and I understand why it's a big mess, and I understand why I got that bad ratings. Still, because I like the franchise, I wanted to finish it, and it had
Yeah.
been. I bought that game. I paid like $60. I bought the deluxe edition. I think I got more. I paid more for it even. I got that game, and I never invested. I did invest the time in playing it, and I just got really bored with it because it was too grindy. And
Mm-hmm.
now, because I finished the project, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna reward myself and give myself some time to finish that game,
Yeah.
let it be done, and then I can continue with other stuff. So now I'm almost done with the game, and because I'm such a person that really likes to finish things, but like really finish them
Mm-hmm.
by doing all the side quests, doing
Oh, you're.
all that.
That's
I just need to complete it, then I can put it away, then never
see
touch it again.
see that's what is going to grind you away from other things. Now, for you, that might be the very thing that you have to do to satisfy your needs, so you stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
For me, I think that's the next baby step. That's a new goal for a later time. I satisfied my first initial need, my want. Okay, cool. I'll come back to that. Right? And I don't see it as a new project. I just see it as a thing to do later when I have the ample amount of time and energy for it.
When
And there
you're in
could
an
be a
old
day
folks' home.
where I had such a crappy week where I was just gonna be selfish, right? I'm gonna put Spotify on, I'm gonna code, and I don't care about everyone else's needs, right? And every once in a while I have to do that. But I also don't feel guilty about it because I spend a lot of time doing other things, doing things for others more often than not,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, I mean, you're only one person, right?
Yeah.
But that's the same kind of thing I felt like about TV, or even, same thing with a lot of games. Games I don't prioritize as an important endeavor for me. It's not an important endeavor. It's a thing that's for me. It's like listening to music. It's something that I need to use as a supplement of work. Same thing with podcasts. Sometimes I need to block out the world, and the only way to do that is to put louder music in my ears privately,
Yeah.
which is probably not helping my hearing. But my point is that I need my force field from the rest of the world because I can't set up my thinking. I can't do my achievement for what my job is. And, my loyal nature is for them at max 55 hours a week. Now, they've pushed past that, and I've worked, 10, 12 hours, over 60 hours at times for work, but I don't let them push that boundary too much because I can't be a good person when I come in for work and finish things well, be skilled at it, and have my concentration in place if they're burning me out.
Yeah.
And I need my own little creative endeavors on the side so that I don't burn out. And the podcasts are part of that, even though sometimes they're more work-like than they are like fun. Every once in a while, they're really awesome. But, I've been doing this for a long time, and there's more or less awesome than there is, awesome. And people go, well, why don't you do it? I said, there's a million of you that have downloaded. There's millions of you who have downloaded over 13 years. So I do it for you selfish jerks out there who expect it to show up in your inbox. I do it for you. I do it because it's greater than myself, and even though these are not masterpieces, it's what we do, and you guys are listening, and so it's clearly part of your life to be your escape, and I'm doing it. I'm sacrificing my time for you, because I respect there's a relationship there that is really just one-sided. It's one-sided on the audience's part, but I know that's what's going on.
Well, and then there's this stuff that can also be an outlet for, discussions or
It gives me boundary. It gives me guidance of something that I need to complete, and I have a moral imperative about it, more or less. And because it's so established, it's easier for others to accept when I say no. It's a thing that I do, right? So the only difference is our parents are, come from a generation where they try to make money out of everything, and they go, "Well, are you making money off it?" No. Why not? Because that's not the way that my culture works. My age, my group, we like to do things for ourselves and for others without having to profiteer off them. Yeah. It's a thing the generation differences will never get, but it's a thing that we get. Yeah. And that's a thing like, for you might be able to turn around a thing and turn it into an art book. Or you turn it into a community. Right? It's a thing that you're doing that's greater than yourself, even if it's minute. It's still like greater than yourself.
Even if it's like 200 artists.
Right. But it's greater than yourself. Yeah. The reality is still true. If it's 3 people, okay, well then it's not that much greater than yourself. Right? It's people love free things. People are showing up for free things, right? So, I get in that respect, right? You want dedicated individuals. And when you ask for money, then you set up a whole new contract you don't realize with your audience there's expectations put on it. But
that's the same thing with the Patreon thing, right? So when people set up a Patreon, they get what I see a lot with artists where they just really burn out really fast because they've been... Before they thought, I could put up a Patreon and get some money for this that I'm actually doing for free normally. And then some people get really angry with them for that for some reason. Right. If you want to support somebody, support somebody. Don't care what they deliver, right? If they want to do something creative, let them do their thing. But people get really burned out because people are really demanding that for that $1 that they gave them, they get all their cents worth, everything.
Yeah, that's right? Not. And scale means nothing at 1,000 Patreons.
For the artists, it's like, I have to perform. I have to do this thing. I have to do this thing. Right. And they burn out. And then they're like, I stopped my Patreon because I couldn't handle it anymore. And then they're out because next time they start up a Patreon, they're not going to, get anybody for that. Because, last time it didn't work. But I think that's a different topic altogether.
That is totally a different rant, and whatever thought I was about to start, I'll stop. We'll leave it at that.
Let's finish this. Hey, we finished it.
Yeah.
Hey, so I think we're never gonna finish this whole debate, but one little thing that I want to say. Because I'm finishing that game, because I finished that project, I found time for myself to draw things, to do a little bit of other projects, do a little side thing here and there. Mm-hmm. That was easy to finish. Also, focusing on one thing helped a lot, but focusing on smaller projects getting those done is really good, because that allowed me to get a little bit progress on that thing, get that done, get that out the door, and just made it open source straight away. It's like,
Right.
okay, I don't care anymore. I've done the thing, and it's done.
And that would be part of my advice is do the small things that make you feel like you achieved something so you feel satisfied in the effort. But don't make all the small things the only things you achieve in the world for yourself. And then, you can look at all the small things, the easy things that are easy to achieve that don't require a lot of infrastructure, a lot of time, and, work on them. And then you feel less guilty about never finishing anything. I have this problem. I used to have this problem a lot. Certainly in my 20s, I know I wanted to do things. I didn't know, and anything I thought I wanted to do, was the barrier for entry was tougher than simpler. And that is a point that is easy to make about today. Today it's different than it was, back then. And so it's easier to achieve today, but now their struggle is, what do they want to do? It's focused on what they want to do, whether they could be capable of doing it because the tools are too expensive, or the world is not aligned with, there's no audience for what they want to do, right? There's no community for what they want to do. That is so not true anymore. And so people are focusing on the first world problem scenario issue instead of the whole thing. And it's easier to enable yourself to do things. And it is easier. The only person who can finish something is you. Unless your project is so big, unless your startup is so big, then you can't bootstrap it all alone. You're going to need partners.
But you can't start it.
But you can start it. Yeah.
And if it fails, just accept that it failed.
And let's just be honest.
You learned a way how to not do it. That's also important.
Right. And let's be honest, and I don't mean this as being, I am not being cynical. The reality is most people don't know what they want. And if you have a new vision for an idea, people don't get delusional. Like, no one really wants pickle bread and peanut butter, salty caramel, garlic sauce sandwiches. Like, okay, maybe someone does, but no one knows that's, and I was picking something that I expect not to be good. Okay, so maybe it turns out this is great. So just understand my point of view at this moment. But maybe you make those things and you have a restaurant and it becomes the biggest thing, becomes the next Cronut, right? So people don't know what they want. And most of us have very limited perspectives of imagination because we're very focused on whatever it is that we do in life, or what we're concerned about life. And we imagine based on that. And so most people don't know what they want in life. And there will be a lot of naysayers for the things you want to do. As long as you're not hurting yourself and you're not hurting others, I'm all for supporting you.
Or not getting yourself in a very bad position to do that.
Right. And I'm all in support for people trying to do great things. And most people don't know what it is they want. And they will always sort of shut you down from trying to achieve anything that you think you're passionate about. And so, don't let others be the influence for not finishing things or getting started. And that was it. That was my long thing to that.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Speaking of things that, turn out weird, movie night with a physicist. Polymatic.JT.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
You know what? I didn't have any bandwidth to look at stuff last night. I just put links in.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry, dude.
The thing about this is, normally when you have I shared something similar recently with the doctor looking at house and stuff. Right?
Yeah. Dr. Mike.
Yeah, but over here he's very positive, and I really like this about this video because he really, he doesn't care that there's bad physics in it. He's like, yeah, that doesn't work that way, but sometimes it's just fun. It's just a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
that this video is very entertaining for that.
I have a similar point of view. Is like, well, what were you? Your critique is based on what? What was important to you? You know, if you are looking for it to be accurate, then okay, you're gonna hate this movie. If you're looking it to be canon to that, you're gonna hate this movie. But if you're looking to have a brainless, good old action sci-fi time, then you'll love this movie, right?
Well, it's the same thing where they get Neil deGrasse Tyson to critique a movie, right? Right. He's gonna find something to nitpick, but he doesn't. They don't show the rest of it, right? You know, he probably enjoyed the movie. They just really like to hype it up that Neil deGrasse Tyson said something about the fucking movie.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, he knows it. He knows, he'll tell you what it's like, you know, he'll do the similar kind of thing. He'll tell you, he'll give you an impression on it. And they nitpick, well, don't you think that this is not realistic? And you go, of course it's not realistic. It's a movie. And, you know, things like The Martian do get rewarded for when they try, right? And they succeed more than they fail, you know? So, okay, so that was Polymatic.link/JT.
Yep.
Like Justin Timberlake.
And speaking of something unrealistic.
Yes, unrealistic. This is a really old video, but I don't know why I had it on my list. I thought it was kind of funny. The thing is, it's still just as relevant, even though it's old. It's still relevant. Catvertising. Polymatic.link/JX. Again, most people don't know what they want. They don't really have an opinion. They just like, oh, well, catvertising.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because at first I was like, yeah, this is not real. Then I was like, huh, wait, are they serious about this? And then I'm like, no, they're not serious about this because they're not actually advertising anything. I'm like, yeah, that's the joke.
But they are. The funny thing is that company, they are an actual media advertising company. They'll do. This was like they made this very early on. Maybe not early on. Maybe a few years into social media when it was a hot thing, and they were already an existing like advertising company, so they just pivoted a little bit more for social stuff, social media things, and they made this video. And I thought like, that's dang on creative, because you know, if you didn't really understand, you would think this is real.
Yeah.
That was Polymatic.link/JX.
Yeah. And the last two episodes for season 3, or as Sci-Fi likes to say, the finale of the series, but it's not because it's moving to Amazon. The Expanse, Cass Anvar, the guy that plays Alex Kamal on the series, did a vlog type thing where he, during the last 2 days of shooting for the last 2 episodes, they did a double day or something like that. Anyway, it was very, very funny because you get to see a lot of people in the behind the scenes. Polymatic.link/JU.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I did watch the latest, which is, you know, from the second to the last, you know, episode for the season ending. Okay, so new movie, Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
that's probably all I need to say. More sci-fi than not. Polymatic.link.
More fantasy than not.
Polymatic.link/JY. This is a behind the scenes. This is, I think, the kind of thing that they make for the studio, you know, or anyone who's invested in the money, has invested money in the movie, you know, gets to see it. But this is out there for the world to see, and looks interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm at with it. I think I might likely see it.
This is one of those in the category of people are gonna hate me for this, but in the same category as the movie with the kids where they have to go survive some sort of battle royale type deal where they have to fight. What was that movie?
Yeah, I know what the original is. I forget. I know what you're talking about.
It's not battle royale. I'm talking about
the American version of
it.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever that was,
or
which I put out of my mind because I know I'll never watch it because
it's so unrealistic that because it's Immortal Engines is about moving cities moving over the land. It's not really a spoiler because that's what happens in the trailer, but
yeah,
I cannot suspend disbelief when it comes to that kind of movie. I just can't do that with this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I can understand it with like something like Lord of the Rings or something like that. I really hate fantasy. But
do you think
this is so far? This is like, let's get the thing that we want to have happen and then put it in a ridiculous setting where the whole sci-fi aspect or the fantasy aspect of it doesn't really matter anymore. It's just the two people that we want to talk about. I understand that, completely understand that. But it's just too far-fetched. It's too weird. And I understand that it can be... I understand that. Some people really like that. And, I mean, I really liked The Fifth Element. That was weird. That was really out there.
Yeah,
right?
Totally weird, pretty hokey, but I still love the movie.
Yeah.
For all its deficiencies.
Yeah, but it's effectiveness. It's like they throw so much money at these movies. It's like the same thing with the Luc Besson movie, the one with the I think that's his name.
Oh yeah, the
city of some other thing.
Yeah, it starts with a V or something that. Yeah, whatever. It is weird. I did watch it.
It's like they put a lot of money into this, and it's like not interesting at all, and it's too hokey. It's like it's like.
But that's a Luc Besson thing. That is incredibly what he does very effectively.
It was a very pretty movie, though. I can say that. But and this is probably going to be a very pretty movie, even though it's it's like I just don't understand that kind of stuff. Anyway.
I think it's also how I felt about like Fury Road, right? Mad Max.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie Fury because Road. I know I'm going to be angry about it.
Yeah, everyone's like, it's Water so amazing.
World. Same idea.
Film techniques. Yeah, I think from a film technique perspective, I think there's a lot of value from a filmmaker's evaluation of it. But as a movie, I think it's terrible. It does not. I don't like dystopias. It's not because I don't think in the world lives like Disney endings. It's not that. It's that it's really just so grotesque in all kinds of manners. Yeah, and it's so intentionally grotesque. And to me, that's not appealing. It's not the film technique. It's not the efficiency of what they did. It's just grotesque. And I don't like the grotesque idea, and I don't love the grotesque dystopia idea. And it's unrealistic distortion of how grotesque it is. I think people love it.
I think the problem I have with these type of movies is because the scope is too big. So, for example, for this, there's like giant cities and they move. I'm like, okay, that's great. But if you look something like, I wouldn't. Like 28 Days Later, like that's a post-apocalyptic thing, right? There's zombies everywhere.
Never watched it, no interest.
Okay, another one. The movie with Brad Pitt, that zombie movie, right? That was a book, by the way. That was also very good.
I tried to watch it. It just was not interested. Same kind of thing. It's the same kind of.
Yeah, but then the thing is closer to. I think the thing is closer to. Like a war situation, right, which I can understand. For this, there's too much fantasy. The same thing. I somehow like the big guy with the big glove hand with the red hand, Hellboy. I like it, but it has that fantasy so unrealistic that I understand it for the art form. I just totally reject it I just can't handle that kind of stuff. Anyway, too much time spent on Mortal Engines anyway.
Yeah, so Polymatic.link/JY. If John didn't put you off on it, at least take a look at it and make your own opinion and see if you like it. I don't know if I would like the movie. Nothing. I just thought it was a new Peter Jackson thing. It was a large scale. It looked interesting. It didn't involve taking a toy franchise and making them grotesque three-dimensionally and distorting, making a story out of nothing and then putting pretty people in it. You know, it wasn't one of those. So, not saying that's his movies. I'm just saying that's
you mean like
typical
Ready Player
brainless action movies that we get that call themselves sci-fi, have no relationship whatsoever.
You mean Ready Player One?
Oh, I apparently the Netflix version, which is I'm not going to watch.
Oh, I'm not going to even try to look at that.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Next one, Captain Disillusion is back. Polymatic link says JV for that. Captain Disillusion, very entertaining guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen this video.
I keep following that guy.
Yeah, no,
he doesn't post a lot, but when he does, it's usually very entertaining.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He puts effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
He makes
same
an
thing
effort
with the Waterjet channel. Those guys have been getting funnier and funnier every single episode.
I'm not sure that I know that channel.
They did a collab with Cody's Lab a while back, and I was like, yeah, no, I'll follow them. And then it's like one of the guys like a wheezy waiter, like really dry and like but funny.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's entertaining.
Cool. Yeah, no, I never heard of him, but okay, so I don't know whether I've shared this with you or not, and I knew because you would encourage me to put a project on my list of things that I will never complete, because I just really don't have the bandwidth or the time. I want to complete one thing first before I complete this. But so I'm just calling this an Alexa smart mirror. This is just a person who got was it a Raspberry Pi, and basically I guess put some version of basically Amazon Alexa voice stuff on it, created a mirror with basically a display, and created some framing and put some electronics behind it and created a smart mirror that he can talk to and do the Amazon enabled things with it. And I had looked deeper at if I was to buy all these parts and make my own thing, how are they doing this? And I looked deeply. My Get Pocket has a ton of links to how to build smart mirrors, and I thought, man, that'd be really cool to build. And it's a thing that I have deeply looked at and it's not that I've forgotten about. It's just, it's not. Until I own my own house or something, I think I'm probably not going to, I don't really have a workshop to do. I have my father's workshop I could use, but I don't know. I think smart mirrors are kind of cool. They don't really sell them on average. That was Polymatic.link/JZ. And I guess if you had a smart mirror, you could probably play some Jay-Z.
Okay.
Sorry, I know you left me hanging there, but did you look at this?
Yeah, I did.
Have you been following smart mirrors at all?
I did. I'm like, I a while back I had the same idea to do this, but I didn't know that was an Alexa thing that I could put on a Raspberry Pi. But that's fun.
Yeah, I didn't either. That was the thing that caught my actual attention on it. And a lot of people have achieved things like this and made it like Sive little maker projects. There's especially with a lot of cloud-based things, there's a lot of cognitive services that you can buy, time for, enough for just like accessing services where you can get vision control things where it face recognizes your face. You can put a camera into the mirror and it can see you, and you can build smart things with some cloud services. You want to pay a little money for it. As a maker, that is, not as like a big old company. So there's lots of machine learning things that are at a cloud service pay as you use it, level, where you could do things like that. Yep. And you could build some really neat mirrors. I don't know. I think it's kind of neat. I'm not sure I would stick it in the bathroom, but you might put it in.
I was thinking when I was looking at that, I was like, he's going to have a fire at some point, and he's going to explain to his insurance how this caught fire.
Sure, yeah, I looked at that too, and I thought I would have put some rubber matting down, and I would have put some maybe fan ventilation. He put holes in it, but he didn't put any little.
Well, Raspberry Pi doesn't really get that hot,
right? But I mean, still, it's very exposed. I would have sealed it up. People have taken 23-inch monitors, pull it out, find the bezel-less ones, pull it out, put a whole full-on, HD monitor behind mirrors to do these things, and put an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi, and put Windows or even Unix stuff on there to do very similar things. So there's a lot of free stuff out there for it. It's a neat little thing. It's more of a maker movement, and there's not a lot of movement to it. But I knew it was immediately would be put it on my list as a project I know, unless I'm dedicated to completing it inside like a weekend or a week,
well,
it will be a thing I'll never finish.
If there's like a kit, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those things. If there's a kit that you get on Kickstarter and you put it together,
But there really isn't.
yeah,
They don't really have kits. There's part lists. There's things you can research. There's things you can order right out of China, or even sites that have like the acrylics for that are perfect for these kind of mirroring, putting mirrors up and stuff like that. I mean, this person just bought a mirror, right? Took it out of its framing and plugged it into its own custom framing with this board behind it, and did put some matting down, but it could have put some rubber matting down, whatever. I thought it was pretty neat. That was it. Alexa Smart Mirror, Polymatic.link/JZ. Oh, I guess I still have more. You didn't fill more in?
I did.
I see at the bottom. Okay, then I'll move on. So this is, I do follow Courier Digital, and I also follow their side channel, the Sam and Nico. I think it's now Corridor Digital Crew or Corridor Crew or whatever it is that they renamed it. But one of their guys, their special effects guys, Ren, just, I guess out of fascination, decided to explain how big the SpaceX rockets are. Polymatic.link/K0, actually, K0. I think it's well done. Is he getting his complete signs correctly? But I don't know. But I have a friend who's very into space things, and he had some commentary, but mostly positive. So
I saw him on. I saw this on Reddit, like the front page of Reddit. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw it like maybe a week or two ago from them directly, and I just tagged it. So Polymatic.link/K0.
Yeah. Okay, so I have two videos. Hank Green from the Vlogbrothers had a post about the weird D.
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
It's like, he gets really upset about Disney's letter D. I saw some other people talk about. So the Vlogbrothers, Hank Green did a video about the Disney logo, and then he made another video about how he was wrong. So Polymatic.link/K4 and Polymatic.link/K5 for those two. It's an interesting deep dive into the Disney logo.
Yeah, I watched one, I guess, where he was talking about it. So maybe I have to watch the follow up, because I didn't watch the video where he said he was wrong, or our correction to it. So okay, so that was K4 and K5.
Yes.
And then last, this is really just for you, John.
It made me hungry. I want to have a hoagie now.
Yeah, because John's visited this area several times.
We never went to a Wawa though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Wawa is a unique. Well, anyhow, so here's a little thing. Polymatic.link/K1. Okay, so Wawas are basically a mini market. They started as a dairy system long ago, but they created these little mini markets that are basically high quality but not high priced examples of like a 7-Eleven. And you can get sandwiches. The only one thing you can't get from them is you can't get burgers, you can't get French fries, but you can get hot dogs, right? You can get mac and beef. When it comes to Thanksgiving, you can get stuffing, And one of the things that's really neat about them, aside from all the like mini market things you could get, as over time they got really big, and so they've also become these sort of super gas stations plus mini markets that are open 24 hours, and they're spread dominantly all over Pennsylvania, into Delaware, and into Jersey. So they're this fundamental, like really awesome market system, a mini market system that is like all over the area. And, when in doubt, if it's real late and you're hungry and you want a sandwich, you go to Wawa. Because why? Because you can drive 15 minutes in any direction and you'll find a Wawa. And that's the basics of Wawa. But anyway, so Polymatic.link/K1.
Now I want a sandwich.
And you want a sandwich. And they're good sandwiches. Indeed. Now I want to go to Wawa. Yeah. Gotta be honest.
Okay. So some music. Have you seen Dexter?
Yeah, it's not a show that I watch, so I watch very little of it, to be honest.
Okay. So anyway, so in the series, he talks about having a dark passenger, like his little alter ego. Not his alter ego, but it's more like his the thing that he has to satiate to be normal. Anyway, so a woman that has been making a lot of music for a while, but I haven't seen her do stuff. This was in my playlist this week somehow. Daniela Andrade. I don't know how to spell her name. How to pronounce her name. Dark Passenger. So Polymatic.link/JS. This is inspired by Dexter for some reason. Also, Deadmau5, Where's the Drop? He dropped the music on all the other platforms, so no longer just on Tidal, which is great because I cannot stand that application. So Polymatic.link/JW for that. It's
Okay,
really
cool.
It's really good. It's also on
I'll
Spotify.
have to check it out.
So great.
Yeah. Oh, they'll take a look. So these are really both of these are for you, really, John.
Yeah.
So I saw K39. I saw this video. K39 and Alan Walker songs Ignite. Polymatic.link/K2. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this might be of something of interest sound to you. I don't know. And I did subscribe to K391. I must be saying 39. I didn't mean to say that. K391. And so I don't really have much of an opinion about this artist or group yet. But I thought I'd share it. Did you listen to it at all?
Yeah.
Watch this? Didn't like it at all?
Yeah, I
Not
didn't
your
like
thing?
it at all.
Okay, well then, also going for some artists, again, I don't know.
The next one's worse.
Right. I don't know what the hell this thing was about.
Yeah.
I think I've seen this before, but I just chose this as like some people were like, oh, this is cool. I don't know what this channel is about, but I thought I'd share it. Polymatic.link/K3. This is Marshmallow and the DuckTales. Song's called Fly.
Great.
That's a bad thing to end with this show, John.
No, it's not the end of the show, though. Because
Okay,
I have something else to
that's
share.
true.
So,
Yeah.
I've talked about the Bob books before. So the guy that gets his mind uploaded.
Yeah.
So Dennis C. Taylor brought out a new book called The Singularity Trap, which is not a Bob book, but it's still related to, singularity things. Polymatic.link/K6 for that. So, it's a very entertaining book. It's only on Audible. So, for now, it's just his latest book. It's great.
Okay.
So, Alan, where can they find you?
You really have to. You can find me on Twitter, CHAESS. That's where you can find me.
Very enthusiastic there, Alan.
Yeah, I know. I don't see much there.
If you want to find me, twitter.com/webdevy, For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. Our music is by Say Uns, which you can find at Polymatic.link/EK. Our Twitter is The Polymatic, and our website is Polymatic.media. I hope you tune in next time. Bye-bye.